Moses Liddell was under arrest by October 3, 1866. The warrant came from the Freedmen's Bureau office in Utah, a planter in Greene County, detained under military authority. The complaint that put him there carried one name, Sam Mitchell. The charge was assault. The arrest warrant was signed by a bureau officer operating under military authority in Greene County. The local civil court had declined to act. By the end of that month, Liddell had been fined and briefly jailed. His name remained in the bureau ledger. Mitchell's name appeared once more, this time beside the word contract. But the arrest did not begin the story. It ended the first part of it. Weeks earlier, Mitchell had refused to continue working without pay on land he had once been forced to cultivate as a slave. Liddell considered that refusal defiance. The bureau called it assault. The record shows injuries. It shows witnesses. It shows resistance. What it does not show, at least not immediately, is how common this pattern was in Greene County during 1866. Nor does it show why Liddell believed no one would interfere. But one document had survived, and it forced federal officers to intervene.
Greene County, Alabama, 1866. The Civil War had ended 18 months earlier. Plantations still operated. Labor had changed in law, not in habit. Moses Liddell had overseen agricultural labor before emancipation. After emancipation, he attempted to secure yearly labor contracts with the same freedmen. Contracts required wages. Many planters delayed payment. Some withheld it entirely. Sam Mitchell was approximately 30 years old in 1866. Census fragments after the war suggest he had remained in the same district near Utah. He signed no written contract with Liddell that year. Instead, he worked under verbal agreement, a common practice in rural counties where literacy among freed laborers had been intentionally suppressed. By late September, Mitchell demanded payment. Witnesses later testified he had asked twice. Liddell responded with force. The Bureau report describes severe whipping and bodily injury. Under Alabama civil authority, such cases rarely proceeded. Local juries were composed almost entirely of former Confederates. But Greene County fell within a federal military district during Reconstruction. The Freedmen's Bureau had jurisdiction when civil courts failed to protect freed citizens. At the time, no one expected a planter to be arrested for striking a black laborer. That assumption would not hold. Because the Bureau officer assigned to Utah was documenting every complaint, and Mitchell was not the only name recorded that week.
The complaint lists September 28, 1866. Mitchell reported that Liddell accused him of laziness. Witness statements indicate Mitchell had stopped working after wages were withheld. Liddell confronted him near a cotton field boundary. The Bureau file notes multiple blows administered with a switch. The document does not dramatize. It lists injuries: bruising to the back, lacerations, swelling. 2 freedmen provided statements. Their names were entered beneath Mitchell's. Liddell denied excessive force. He described the action as discipline. The Bureau officer wrote one line beneath that statement: "Freedmen no longer subject to corporal punishment." That sentence marked a shift in authority. But one detail complicated the matter. No written labor contract existed. Without a contract, Liddell argued Mitchell had abandoned agreed labor. The Bureau investigated payment records. None were produced. The absence of documentation worked against Liddell, because Bureau regulations required written contracts filed with the local office. No filing existed under Mitchell's name. But another record surfaced. A separate complaint from a different laborer filed 3 days later. Same employer, similar accusation. The pattern was now visible. And patterns were harder to dismiss than isolated incidents.
The bureau officer in Utah escalated the matter to the assistant commissioner for Alabama. Military authority permitted arrest when civil courts refused. On October 3, 1866, a warrant was issued. Liddell was detained. He was brought before a bureau-supervised hearing. Witnesses testified under oath. Mitchell's injuries were corroborated. No written wage contract was produced. Under Bureau labor regulations, corporal punishment of freed persons was prohibited. The ruling was delivered within the month. Liddell was fined. He was briefly confined. More significantly, he was compelled to sign a formal labor contract with Mitchell and other workers, wages specified, payment dates recorded, filed with the Bureau. The record notes compliance. His name appeared in the Register of Offenders. That registration mattered, because planters under repeated complaint could lose access to federal mediation and credit networks forming during Reconstruction. By November 1866, the case was closed, but its impact remained, because Liddell's authority had been publicly challenged, and the ledger recorded it. By 1867, additional oversight was placed on labor contracts in Greene County. The case could no longer be ignored.
Moses Liddell did not return to informal enforcement. His subsequent contracts were filed in writing. His reputation in county correspondence shifted. A letter from a neighboring planter described him as under Bureau scrutiny. He was not removed from the county, but he was no longer unchecked. Financial strain followed. Tax records from 1868 show reduced acreage under his management. Whether from market forces or diminished labor control, the decline was documented. He did not face imprisonment beyond the initial confinement, but his authority had limits now. It was written. Sam Mitchell appears in the 1870 federal census for Greene County, listed as a farm laborer. Surname recorded, household established. He remained in the district. No further complaints appear under his name in Bureau registers. That absence suggests stability, not silence. His name, once entered as property in plantation records before the war, now appeared in Federal Census Inc. as a citizen. The difference is administrative, but permanent. The assault did not disappear. It was recorded. The arrest was not rumor. It was logged. And for one season in 1866, the authority of a plantation overseer was reduced to a line in a federal ledger. His name remained. So did Mitchell's. One marked as offender, one marked as freedman, both written in the same book. And this time, the book did not belong to the plantation.